up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours. Really don't want to do this after yesterday's game, but nonetheless, we are here and we're going to march on because the show must go on no matter what, but it's not going to be a very moody video. I will give you guys that. Now, firstly, we have been linked with, of course, midfielders in the market, one of them being in the pivot position. More talks about Zubimendi and Kimmich, and apparently Bayern Munich now are interested in Zubimendi, which could now open the door for Kimmich to join Barcelona. So there is a bit of a three-way circle going around between Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and Sociedad. We'll talk about that. Xavi really wants to sign Lo Celso in January. He is the ideal player, profile, and price that Barcelona need. And again, Lo Celso might push for the move, but again, the main issue is Tottenham Hotspur, who do not want to let him leave. We do have some exit reports as well on Araujo going to Bayern Munich and how Araujo has shut down the reports of Bayern Munich, does not want to leave as well. He is currently prioritizing a contract renewal with Barcelona, but will hold talks in the event of a future case. But Bayern Munich say they will not give up until the deal becomes absolutely impossible. And finally, there are reports suggesting that Barcelona already have decided to sell Oriol Romeu. Girona, his former club, are interested, and there is a decent possibility that Romeu could leave Barcelona in the upcoming January transfer window, which of course maybe hopefully can let Lo Celso join the club. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get to 200 likes in this video. Be very much appreciated. Also, if you're new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past 48 hours. Now, the first report that we do have to discuss is, of course, the reports linking pivots to Barcelona. Now, this is coming in from Germany's Sport 1, the top sources around Bayern Munich. And they've come out saying this: Joshua Kimmich is facing confidence issue, promoting Thomas Tuchel to explore options for a new pivot. Bayern has expressed interest in Martin Zubimendi, and Barcelona is monitoring Kimmich's situation, considering a potential move for him if he does not renew his deal with Bayern Munich, potentially leading to his sale next summer. So apparently, Kimmich might leave Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich wants Zubimendi to replace Kimmich, and then Barcelona want to get Joshua Kimmich. This might be the biggest finesse in the transfer market in the history of the sport. If Bayern gets Zubimendi and we get Kimmich, oh my goodness gracious, we should be the ones getting Martin Zubimendi. This man put in a man of the match against Inter. I'm still affected from last night, and when you look at last night, I know last night was a rotated side. Let's even go to the Girona match over the past. Let's even go to the Girona match. Let's even go to the Girona match over the past weekend. You put a top CDM in there, and I think Barcelona changed completely. I'm not saying we're one CDM away from, aiming for a treble every single season, but I think we're a CDM and a proper winger away from being a dangerous side. And seeing Barcelona not really lackluster in the pivot market, but being linked with 2 or 3 top players and after that there's nothing is a bit disappointing. There have been resurging links about Gabriel Mascardo, but PSG are way too advanced on that operation for Barcelona to come in and beat them to the race, in my opinion. Again, I understand that Barcelona don't want to give money to another La Liga club because of the Negreira case. I completely stand by that. But when there is literally, if there's other people, I am down to hear these other options that the club are monitoring. But all we have is Kimmich and Zubimendi. And if that's the case, Zubimendi, I'd rather give Sociedad the 60 million, even though they were, against us during the Negreira case. So at the end of the day, I think of what's best for Barcelona, and for me, Zubimendi for 60 million is better than Kimmich for anything more than 60 million over him. And that's not even my opinion, that is a fact. So we'll wait and see what happens in regards to the pivot. I honestly don't think there'll be that much movement and that much reports from now until probably February and March, probably this Kimmich and Zubimendi recycling news. I think once we hit March and the club really start planning for the summer, I think that's when the reports will come in. We'll get that top, pivot target list like we did from Jordan Romero last summer, somewhere around that range. So wait and see what happens in the pivot position, but for now, Barcelona continue to monitor this area, keeping targets in mind and seeing movements that may happen in this position. Now, a midfielder who Barcelona could potentially sign in the January transfer window is Giovani Lo Celso. There are reports coming in from Sky Sports suggesting that Xavi is determined to sign Giovani Lo Celso for Barcelona in January and requested the club to get it done in what is seen as a test of their support for him. Very interesting report. Now, the Sky Sports journalist who is reporting this is very close onto the Spanish network as well. Look, I think Lo Celso signing in January on loan would be absolutely bloody fantastic. We're on the cusp now of having only 3 midfielders in Pedri, De Jong, and Gundogan. Firmino is too young to really rely on, and the Spanish Johnny Sins is someone that I don't even want to discuss at the moment. But again, with Lo Celso, he's open to the move. Barcelona is open to the operation. I think that's pretty much guaranteed. It's just now on the stance of Tottenham. But there is even more encouraging reports, like 90 Minute has come out saying that Barcelona are in fact considering a January loan move for Tottenham and Argentine midfielder Giovani Lo Celso. There are reports coming in from Mundo Deportivo saying that Lo Celso is very far away from Barcelona, as the situation at Tottenham, where he's having minutes now, has changed. I will add on to that. Lo Celso over the past 2 games for Tottenham, I don't think has started. I think for the Man City game, I think he started, he scored. When he's been playing for Tottenham, he's been absolutely brilliant. But it's very, very, assured that when Tottenham have their fully fit midfield, Lo Celso's on the bench. I think they start with Bissouma, Sarr, Bentancur is ahead of him, but Bentancur is going to be out for a long time. James Maddison is always ahead of him, but he'll be back, I think, sometime in January. I'm really, really hoping that we can get a 48-hour, 24-hour last-second loan deal for Lo Celso. Because again, the only party that's stopping this move is Tottenham, because they think that they still need him later down the window in terms of squad depth. I think if Lo Celso really, really, really pushes for the move, it can get done. Because again, he's been fit, he's been playing well, but yet when that midfield core of Ange Postecoglou is fit, he does not stand a chance whatsoever. And at Barcelona, he'll be the first name off the bench. We can rotate, he'll start games here and there, and hell, he can maybe even break into that midfield, force Xavi to play a midfield 4 of Gundogan, De Jong, Pedri, Lo Celso, front 2 of, Joao Felix, hopefully soon Vitor Roque, whatever the case may be. This for me would be a banging move in January. Again, Vitor Roque, we could already sign him with or without the 80% of Gavi's salary, so there's definitely 100% enough room on the salary margin to bring in a very simple loan operation like this. So we'll wait and see what happens. I think again, a loan move like this would make us so much stronger, especially in that second half push of the season. But it comes down mainly to Spurs deciding whether or not to let Lo Celso go in January. Let's now discuss the players that have been rumored to leave Barcelona over the past 48 hours. The first player we have, of course, is Ronald Araujo, and again, those talks linking him to Bayern Munich do continue, but I would say it has taken a turn in the positive direction for Barcelona. We have reports coming in from Germany, firstly stating, I think this is coming in from Sport 1, saying that Bayern have indeed contacted Araujo's camp and expressed interest, but they're also aware that a move is very unrealistic, which is why they are considering further options. Araujo was honored when Bayern contacted him. He listened to what Tuchel had to say purely out of respect, politeness, and consideration, but he feels comfortable at Barcelona and has no serious intentions of leaving the club. The door for Araujo is currently closed, but Bayern would be prepared to dig deep into their pockets if that door does open. Now, this again, more positive sources. Basically every report has said that Araujo wants to stay at Barcelona. He's focused on Barcelona, which again, I agree with and I understand. But again, more confirmation that he picked up the phone. And for me, that shows that 1 or 2% doubt. You could say they're all out of respect, blah, blah. There's no respect, man. Let's say I'm David Villa. Prime days at Barcelona, let's say 2012. Let's say I'm playing for Barcelona, just won the Champions League, and who was the manager then? It was that old guy, I forget his name. Let's say some top manager calls me. I look at my phone, caller ID, Allegri at Juventus. Get that garbage out of here, man. Like, I get it. You want to keep the relationship good just in case you want to go there maybe in the future, but bloody hell, this doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. Now, also, Sky Germany also added to this report saying that in the phone call last Friday, Tuchel told Araujo that he's primarily intended to be used as a center back, occasionally also as a right back. Tuchel spoke to him very assertively and motivatedly. Freund, who is the sporting director of Bayern Munich as well, was on that phone call. It was a respectful conversation, although Araujo has now completely rejected Bayern Munich in terms of the transfer happening in the winter. are very slim. Bayern have been informed about it, but don't want to give up, especially since initially no one believed that they could even sign the likes of Harry Kane or Sadio Mane. And Araujo's dream is a dream target for Bayern Munich coach Thomas Tuchel and also the sporting director. So this is their dream player, their dream signing. Like I said before, and I'll say it again, if he does not renew his contract by the summer, strap your seatbelts because these rumors are going to be lighting up. There have been reports as well saying that, Bayern Munich think they can get Araujo for around 80 million euros. There's a condition that lets him leave for around 80 million euros. I think that's because if his contract isn't registered or something like that, which I think makes no sense whatsoever. Again, for me to even consider selling Araujo, the starting bid is at least at around 150, 200 million euros. This is the best defender in the world, 100%. You can talk about there being better center back in terms of ball playing, distribution, reading the game, but just as a pure defender, there's no one better than Araujo in the world right now, in my opinion. Now, again, the reports in Spain are still confirming the fact that Araujo does not want to leave. Canales have come out saying that Araujo has no intentions to leave Barcelona. He just bought a house in Barcelona, and his contract renewal is already underway. So, again, wait and see how that develops again from January until June. You're going to hear renewal updates on Pedri, on Xavi, on Araujo, on probably Naki Pena. A lot of renewals that need to be done. Frankie de Jong as well. I think Frankie de Jong and Araujo should be the top priorities right now, especially with Bayern Munich showing this kind of strong interest. Again, I think clubs will be all over the place for Pedri as well, but since the interest is there in concrete with Bayern Araujo, you have to speed that one up as well. So we'll wait and see what happens. I think, again, him leaving in January, 1 trillion%, it's not going to happen. But by the summer, if he does not renew his deal before then, anything can happen. Now, a player who you and I can both agree that should be leaving Barcelona today, not the winter, not the summer, today, is the Spanish Johnny Sins. I dare even want to say his name, if I'm being honest. But there have been reports even before last night's match against Antwerp on the departure of Oriol Romeu. Canales have come out saying that during the last match against Girona, the president Joan Laporta and the president of Girona discussed a possible move for Romeu in the future, as Girona is looking for a pivot and Romeu is the best player they prefer in that position. Xavi does not mind because the player did not bring the addition that they expected. However, a deal happening right now is difficult. Esport 3 then came out saying that Oriol Romeu returning to Girona in January is actually a real possibility. Although there are obstacles, both clubs are looking forward to it. Barcelona would not gain much FFP margin. Of course, he's on absolute peanuts. He's one of the lowest earning wages, and it's not certain if Xavi will approve of this transfer happening in January. And this is why I think Lo Celso is so key. If we can get a Lo Celso loan, Xavi might be more inclined, more open to let Romeu leave. But again, I think 100% what is confirmed that Barcelona are not too keen to keep him long term, and I mean long term by past this summer, and also Girona still showed that strong interest. But Relivo have come out saying that Oriol Romeu will not leave Barcelona as of now. His sales not being considered in the winter market, and neither do Girona want him in the winter, so the operation is inviable right now. So I think in the winter it is difficult, but in the summer we've got to get it done. He has shown he had a good month, and from that good month, 90% of it was preseason. So it's a sign of the times. You know, you took a risk, 3 million. I don't really criticize Barcelona so much or so upset about this transfer happening. At the time, you're like, you know what? There's no one else fits the philosophy, understands the club and all that stuff. It made sense at the time for someone just really short term, but it's not worked out. So wherever we can get is the best one. I don't know if we're going to sell him, let him go for free, whatever the case may be. I think with Girona, if you can get maybe some sort of deal happening, like, buy an option for Arnau Martinez, or you guys can keep Pablo Torre, we can buy him back, or some other kind of underlying thing we can do in order to give them Oriol Romeu for free. But hey, I would let him go in January 100%. Whether we sign a replacement or not, I think I'd rather have Casado for the rest of the season. If I'm being completely honest, I'd rather have Garrido in the midfield, whoever, than have Romeu in there. But I think Xavi, of course, is looking at experience, training sessions, locker room leadership, all that crap that we don't see. All we see, of course, is what happens on the pitch, but he sees everything behind the scenes as well. So we'll see with Romeu, but I think 100% his future at Barcelona past this summer is looking on the ropes. And hopefully, I think by the end of this upcoming summer, 2024, hopefully he's no longer a Barcelona player. Now, aside from the players being rumored to leave Barcelona, there have been reports about confirming players staying at Barcelona for the foreseeable future, and one of those players is Raphinha. Roger Solero from Mundo Deportivo has come out saying that Raphinha is untouchable right now. His possible departure would only be considered in the summer if a suitable offer is received and if Barcelona can sign a better player. If the level of the squad is not improved, he won't leave. So a good offer has to come in and Barcelona have to find someone better to let Raphinha leave. I will touch on this point and say this. If we get anything above 50 million euros for Raphinha, we have to take it and run. This man is so indecisive, so, inconsistent in the final third. It is outrageous. I think even his build-up play isn't that great. I think sometimes he does well, sometimes he doesn't. I think as a defensive winger, in the sense that he comes back and defends and moves forward, he's really, the work rate up and down that wing is there. He's, of course, on point, but everything else what you want from a winger, he's just not showing it. All this Hoka Bonito is just absolute nonsense. Now, the reason for this report is that there were reports suggesting that Barcelona were considering a Jadon Sancho Raphinha swap deal, which would have been by far the worst deal in the history of this sport if the club did that. But of course, it was coming in from Sport, which is kind of outrageous, but of course it was shut down. Oriol Romeu came out saying there is nothing between Barcelona and Jadon Sancho. Barcelona only rule him out, but also make it clear that the English winger is not part of their plans for any part of the future. Against Sancho, it's not worth it whatsoever. Bring him in on loan. I mean, bloody hell, we don't need him. We're at a point now where we're really concreting on what we need for the middle and long term, and Sancho does not provide nothing of that whatsoever. He hasn't played football in about 2 or 3 months. Absolutely washed. But on Raphinha, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What would you do in his situation? Again, finding someone better than Raphinha is going to be it was going to be easy, but getting them to sign for Barcelona, so it's going to be difficult. And again, selling Raphinha as well, but I think in the summer, you got Saudi Arabia, you got Newcastle maybe, who are going to be interested. Anything above, I would say like 45, 50. If you put 40 million plus variables, maybe 15, 20 million euros in variables, I might consider that as well, because he's not doing much. Again, there's still another entire second half of the season still to come, which he can do the biggest remontada in history. But for now, in the summer, I would say Raphinha's future is further away from Barcelona than in it. Now, a player's future that is pretty much concrete in the sense that he will leave Barcelona is, of course, Sergi Roberto. But doing an interview recently, Roberto has kept that door a bit open in regards to staying at Barcelona. During an interview, he came out saying that with Xavi as the coach, I feel comfortable. I have his trust. At the end of the season, if the club is happy, I will continue. I'm talking to Barcelona. At the moment, I'm not going to go to another team. Everything that is said about me going to Miami or Palmeiras is all lies. It is true that I would like to have an experience in the MLS in the future, but it's not yet time for it. At the moment, I say I want to stay at Barcelona. Maybe in a year, I will tell you that I want another experience in Europe or in the United States, but this will be in the future. I don't think that it will happen immediately. Mate, he's gone. I get it. He played all right last night against Antwerp, but bloody hell, he's gone. If Roberto stays another season, in my opinion, this club is finished. There's no way you can drag out players like this who have not had any input whatsoever on the season to keep going. I get it, he's on peanuts. I get it, he's the captain, but he's providing absolutely nothing for Barcelona in any capacity whatsoever. If Xavi keeps him simply as a squad player and simply just to keep him as a leader and the captain of the dressing room, would I be disappointed? Yes. I think the time for Roberto is now to leave. I think it's time now to hand over that captain's armband, hand down the mantle to Stegen, then he'll hand it to Araujo maybe in a 2 or 3 years time. No point in keeping him whatsoever. I'd much rather have Casado, Garrido, Fermin Lopez as part of the first team squad than Sergi Roberto. I think he might push the stage just to get a send off at the Camp Nou. If I'm Roberto, I'll play smart. I'll say, oh, please, one more season so I can get a send off at the Camp Nou. You know what I mean? The new Camp Nou as well, the new Spotify Camp Nou. Getting sent off at the Montjuic is a bit dead if I'm being honest, but we'll wait and see. At the end of the day, it does come down to the club. I believe 100% if Xavi, the club, tell Roberto we don't want to renew you, he'll probably say yes, okay, I'll go. But if they say to him yes, of course, he will sign that contract as quickly as he can say, si queda. So we'll wait and see with Roberto. He is keeping that door open. But again, I think his future past this season, his continuation past this season is very, 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 very unlikely. Let's now discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past 48 hours. First up, a very surprising and shocking news in that no more water is allowed at the Montjuic Stadium. Now, of course, we will elaborate on that. Mundo Deportivo is reporting that the Catalan government has announced that they are starting from next week. Showers in gyms and sports centers will be prohibited due to the drought in the region. This directly affects the Barcelona squad and other professional teams too. And now the players will have to shower at their home and not go in the dressing room of the training facilities or during or after matches at the stadium. So of course there is a drought of water in the region of Catalan. So from now on, sports areas, gyms and sports centers can no longer distribute water. So the players cannot go and shower after the training session, before the training session, during a game, before the game, after the game. There's no more water allowed at sports centers and communities. So it is a bit weird, especially with the money that Barcelona has, but you gotta think of the city first, which is completely understandable. So it's something to keep an eye on. The players probably won't stay around the training center too long now, especially when they can't, shower and, take their time and connect with the teammates, chemistry and all that. But nonetheless, it is something to take note of for the future. And with this regulation now being put in effect, hopefully the region of Catalan can, stop and overcome this water drought. Now, with Barcelona losing 2 matches in the Champions League, and more importantly, you could say even losing out on a total of 5.8 million euros in winning money, the club, of course, have now had to look at other avenues of revenue to compensate for that loss. And of course, one of those avenues is the friendly on the 21st against Club America in Dallas. Tony Juan Martí came out saying that Barcelona had a plan to go for 4 group stage victories before the match against Shakhtar in Germany. The 4 wins would have been the amount of around 11.2 million in prize money. Not winning the match in Germany activated the option of the friendly in Dallas. So with that loss, when we lost 1-0 to Shakhtar in Germany, that forced Barcelona to go and schedule a friendly to earn that revenue that we missed from that match. Now, with that being said, the fact that the club have to pay the players to put a smile on their faces and go to that match, for me, is nothing short of an absolute disgrace. Especially now, after losing yesterday against Antwerp and losing out on more money, the club should send those players there and say, if you don't like it, shove it where the sun doesn't shine, and you can terminate your contract, bring your agent over. It's an absolute disgrace. Hopefully, that isn't the case anymore. We heard this report about 2 weeks ago or so that the club would have to pay 100,000 euros each of the players to go to America, put a smile, and be happy because they really weren't too keen on going, which again, I understand from the players, but with these performances, I think it's definitely good punishment. But now, of course, with 2 losses against Shakhtar and Antwerp, there is now another avenue where Barcelona will make up the money from the Antwerp game, and this is for a new sponsor. Fran Martinez, Mundo Deportivo, came out saying that Barcelona have signed a regional sponsorship agreement with MCW Casino, which will bring around 2.4 million euros to the club. MCW Casino is an online betting house that operates worldwide and is a leader in the Southwest Asian countries. MCW Casino becomes the 28th sponsor of the club. Again, 2.4 million, the exact amount essentially of a win or a loss in the Champions League. I believe for a win you get 2.8 million. This is 2.4, but with losing, I think you get like 500k or something like that. So in the end, it does compensate overall. So again, this is why the club is very well run. They have always backup plans in the events the players perform like absolute shite, and it has been quite a consistent basis recently. But nonetheless, though, avenues have been there to regain the losses of the Champions League money that the players missed out on. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and of course, leave me your thoughts down below in the comments on everything we discussed. The main thing, firstly, of course, is your thoughts on the pivot position. Besides Zubimendi and Kimmich, who else would you be interested in signing? And out of the two, who would you prioritize? Second, your thoughts on Lo Celso signing in January. You think there's a possibility? You think Tottenham will allow Lo Celso to join Barcelona on loan? And your thoughts on Xavi wanting him as part of the squad? Thirdly, your thoughts on Araujo. You think there's an actual possibility that he could leave to Bayern Munich in the next year or so? And finally, your thoughts on the exit of Oriol Romeu. I'm pretty sure we can all agree that we do want him to leave, but do you think that he will leave in January? And more specifically, would you let him leave in January as well? And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care, and Forza Barca.
Yeah.